such a big thing, Mike.
I want to turn this around and talk a little bit about Steve.
Yeah, sport is for everyone. It's the common language between all the people.
Survive the ups and downs of it if you don't have a passion. And
hello and welcome to In The Game, Qatar's first sports podcast. I'm your host Steve Mackey, and I can't wait to introduce to you some amazing individuals. The podcast is all about the story, our guest story. The highs, the lows, the laughter, the tears. We want to learn what it's like to walk in their shoes, to get an insight into what it takes to overcome those challenges and how to create what is their success story. I'm a Sterling fan. I think he does a fantastic job, and it was definitely a penalty.
Hello and welcome to In The Game, Qatar's first sports podcast, and today we have an amazing guest. And I spent this week trying to learn everything about basketball, and I hope I do well today. But Harry Williams, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And welcome to Qatar.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my
Truly
pleasure. Honestly, and I'm so privileged, and it was such an absolute joy to read through all of your material before the show. And I know that I'm not giving you much of a with my questions, and I know that you said this morning, what's the questions? And I'm like, you'll be okay, no problems. So I hope you enjoy it, and I know that you're very experienced in this, so I'm a little bit under pressure myself. So let's see how it goes.
No pressure.
But Harry Williams, please tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. But I played basketball at a very high level in high school. I had the fortune of being able to play college basketball at the Division I level in America. Graduated from Liberty University, was a part of a championship team there. Going into my senior year, I had a workout with the Lakers and the Hawks, and my agent advised me to go back to school for one more year. And in my senior year, ended up finding out I had a severe hip injury, a vascular necrosis, which basically ended my basketball career. So as you can imagine, with that being kind of the goal, the focus, my whole life pretty much, my basketball playing career was cut short. So I actually went into the financial business. I was a financial planner for about 5 years, and just during that time frame, I felt like something wasn't right. I wasn't doing enough, and made some really good money, but there was always just a pull to get back into the basketball world. So one thing led to another, and God just put it on my heart to, find a way to give back, to the next generation. And I ended up starting a school, a private boarding school, where I brought young men in from all over the world, provided them with education, provided them with character building, and then also they were elite basketball players. So put together a very challenging schedule, and within that program, ran about 7 years. We were able to put players in college. I want to say over 28 players were able to sign Division I, II, and III scholarships. And then that basketball journey actually led to me coming overseas. So my first run overseas was in Lebanon, which is a high level basketball country. Had great success there. 2.5 years I spent there. Then the country kind of ran into some challenges. Unfortunately, I thought I'd be there for the next 20 years, but some things, had happened within the government and things like that. So I took my talents to Kuwait.
I'm going to stop you right now.
Okay.
Because I'm going to take you back in your journey, because I want to go over some of the things that you've just said there before, just so that everybody out there can understand what it was like when you had to pick yourself back up from negatives. But I want to take you back even further. I want to take you back to the stage where you first touched it. Was it love at first sight with that basketball? At what age?
It's funny because I'm what you would call a late bloomer, late starter. I didn't start playing basketball until going into my freshman year. Like the first time I actually played organized, what is 14?
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
First time I picked up a ball to actually play in an organized setting, I was 14 years old. I grew up playing American football. So that was kind of my first passion. And, if you know anything about American football, especially in Texas, where I'm from, you better be really dedicated to that. So I was not. I found that out quick by the time I got to high school. So basketball became a passion from the moment I picked up the ball. It was like, this is what I want to do. So at 14, I picked up the ball. And at 15, I was actually training with an NBA coach.
Yeah.
He was the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers at the time, John Lucas. So
You've got one of my questions here now.
Yep. So John Lucas is one of my mentors. Give him a lot of credit for, developing me as a player. I was introduced to him through my godmother, who is actually my rock. I know I would not be here and would not be the man that I am today if not for her.
Can I ask her what she was like? How did she help you?
Well, she ran one of the largest AAU summer league basketball programs in the country, Nike teams, and I was fortunate enough to get introduced to her my sophomore year. She fell in love with me. I was nowhere near the level of player that really should have been on the team that I was playing on, but she fell in love with me, fell in love with my family, and just kind of took me in and, kind of connected the dots for me. And, even the school that I started, I named it after the program that she had started. So my whole basketball career has pretty much kind of been an honor to her.
You always hear these, when you've got kids that's talented. Were you a bit of a rebel back then, or were you looking for?
Yeah, you could say so. Growing up in the part of Houston that we did, there were so many things going on, so many distractions, and we're talking mid-'90s. There's just a lot going on. So I was involved in, all kinds of things that you can imagine a kid growing up where I grew up did. But like I said, I was truly blessed and fortunate enough to have her in my life, and she really just kind of kept me on the straight and narrow, and just provided me everything I needed basketball-wise. So,
did she give you that good talking to?
Oh yeah. No, it's surprising for being a woman. She's still probably one of the most intense people you'll ever meet.
Dear me, she sounds an absolute. I hope help me get her on the podcast too.
Oh, if we can do it,
yeah,
I'll do it. Hey, I'm trying to bring her out here for the World Cup. So.
Oh, fantastic! She sounds a wonderful person, and you said she's got the program that she runs is all across the U.S.
Oh yeah, she ran the program starting in the early '90s and had developed a number of NBA basketball players. She sent hundreds of young men to college to play ball. So literally my programs have just been an extension of what she had been doing. So she's 70, let me not botch her age now, but she's in her early 70s.
You should know ladies anyway, and we should discuss that.
She's, but you would think she's something special. She's got
still going. She's still pushing?
Not on the basketball side.
Right.
She's dealing with, just all of us, the ones that are still very connected to us. And, I still gain a lot of inspiration from her every day.
Magnificent bond, I bet.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest. She's a godsend. I feel like she's an angel that was put in my life.
And you I know that I always talk about angels, where people say, I had an angel come. But we're all angels, right?
Yeah.
Every one of us is an angel, and people are going to hear me now and they're going to say, this boy is going off on one now. But I think that everyone has got the ability to be an angel.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just a handshake, or sometimes it could be just a smile. I say
Absolutely.
this all the time. And when you see somebody that needs help, that's probably frustrated, it's like you can help them. You can be that angel.
And that she's been that, and that she put something in me to try to be that for other people. So it's been a blessing.
Unbelievable, because then it starts to flourish. The branches start coming off. That one good intention, that one good deed that somebody's going to try and do, and then it just branches off. And so now I'm going into your career. So you got into basketball. You had this coach that kind of identified you, and how did that come about? How did he see you one day at training? Or?
No, she had a strong relationship with him.
Okay.
So there was only a handful of us, 3 of us that were in high school at that time who had the opportunity to do so, and she just threw me in that group. And I laugh about it because my whole career, from the first time I played basketball, the very first organized team I played for, I won a championship. So, I mean, I've won multiple championships, and I have to believe that's starting from when I started playing basketball, you know, picking up some of the qualities, and it's just kind of grown. But she was the one that made the introduction, and, I mean, he took me in, even though I was not as talented and not ready at that time, and, you know, they just pretty much have groomed me.
And I'm going to keep on, because I'm going to go from my similar experiences where I've seen that people are not as talented as everybody, but you've got to work twice as hard, right? Even 4 times as hard. You've got to be doing things that you just didn't realize that you could do, but you've got to, because they've got natural ability. And if you close your eyes for 1 second, you're down again.
Absolutely. And I truly believe that my story, especially in the infant stages, is what's led to my success and my ability to work with players no matter what their level is. You know, most people at my level of training and capability as a basketball coach typically work with NBA players and high level players, and that's kind of where their focus is. But I truly believe, because of how I started, I've been very successful with taking players who've, you know, just starting the game or never played the game, whatever the case is, and kind of really helping motivating them to, you know, gain everything that they need.
I don't like talking about negative stuff, but I'm going to try and take you back to that time that you had the injury. Oh my word, did it feel like your world was falling to pieces?
Oh, it did. My world did fall to pieces in a very short window of time. I mean, as you can imagine, if you're doing something for 10 years, especially that young, what was I? Oh, it wasn't 10 years yet, but yeah, actually 22, 23. And you're just dedicated and focused on that one thing, and then overnight it's just taken away from you. It was definitely a shocking experience, and especially having had the opportunity just months before having NBA workouts, you know. So it was just a lot of questions at the time. Why me? Why did this have to happen? And, you know, but I had a really strong support group at the time, and just stayed faithful, and, you know, within weeks I was able to just continue to focus. And
did they get you back on track with hard love, or because I went through a really tough time with my sister passing away. She was in a car accident, and it was really tough. There was nobody there to be able to kind of get me out of that depression, that kind of that mental illness that the people are calling it now. Was it somebody that kind of shook you a little bit, or did you just come out naturally, or was it just because of all the love and the help that was around you?
I mean, I think it was it's hard to say those types of things you do on your own, even though I remember vividly feeling alone, but I think it was more of the support that I knew I had prior to finding out the injury. And then, you know, my godmother, my mother, my father, I mean, everybody was pretty supportive and telling me that that's not where it ended, you know, for me, my career. And I guess that's the motivation I needed. And I was able to really buckle down academically, because this was my senior year, you know, and I ended up just really going full-fledged into the business world, and was able to, you know, become a financial planner. I worked with Morgan Stanley, and was a stockbroker for those first few years after school.
Isn't it brilliant how sometimes life takes you on that journey? Some things happen, and then they take you on another journey.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm going to just before we get into the business side of things, because there are some questions I want to ask. Is it you say that, and just for people out there with young kids, and this is the main reason I'm bringing these things up. That support mechanism, like you were saying, your mother, your father, your godmother, your coach. How important is it for young kids that have got some talent, or you can see some ability coming out? How important is it for us to get involved at that stage, the fathers, everybody, to try and get involved and to try to kind of help?
It's absolutely everything. The phrase "it takes a village to raise a child," I think that is. It couldn't be better said. And that's something that I tell parents as well. You know, for me, with the kids that I deal with, it's not just about the basketball piece. That's just a small fraction of the overall development of a young man or a young woman. And that support group is everything. Like, without that support group, and, you know, my family, I have an unbelievable family. You said you lost your sister. I lost my sister as well, just 6 years ago. You know, father, I just lost 3.5 years ago.
Oh, my word.
And then I lost a baby brother about 18 years ago. So I've dealt with a lot of loss in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And, you know, my family's my backbone, but sometimes that extension, you know, the extension of family, such as my godmother, I give her a majority of the credit for who I am today. And, you know, in those times, she's always been that support for me.
And who, it feels like there's somebody helping you, because they all of a sudden they put you into finance. Like you said, stock market, you know your way around now from a business perspective. What was that like? What was it like to learn all those things again?
Honestly, that's probably been one of the most gratifying things for me. And it's funny because people who know me and have met me at different points in my life only see me as a basketball coach, player, trainer, whatever the case is. But that was probably one of the most gratifying times in my life. I was very successful. Every company that I've worked with on the business side, I've always been one of the top 2-3 salespeople in the whole company. So that was a transition, but I attribute my work ethic and determination in basketball to why and how it was such a seamless transition for me.
Help me on this one. You're talking about the business side and all that you could have done on there, right? And if you're one or two in the companies and you talk Morgan Stanley as one of those, then there could have been some serious money that you could have been on.
Oh yeah, for sure. No
Okay,
question.
let me just put that in your mind right now. And then let me put this other thing in your mind. Of all the people that you've worked with, I see that T-shirt on. That must be a big thing. Chicago Bulls, right?
Yes.
So of all those things that you've done in your life right now, dear me, that was a tough one to throw away, right?
Oh, it was very tough. But like I said, it was just something pulling at me that I just, the money that I was making was great, but there was still just this burning desire to do more, like I said, for the next generation, and doing something on such a grander scale. My goal, actually, when I started the school was, if I can implement some of these, you know, life-changing things in these young men, and one or two of them end up going to the NBA, they're going to have way more impact on the world than what even me, myself, in the business world could do. So that was kind of a driving force for me. But, you know, to bring it back full circle, I mean, all those things have kind of connected themselves together even till today.
I can see how it's going, but there's going to be so many people out there saying, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
I ask myself that sometimes.
And I do, because I kind of then, it's going to be a nice one, because I'm going to leave it on the are you crazy, because I already know the answer. And I suppose it's probably why people, because everybody says to me, where'd you get your guests from? How do you get these wonderful, and there are some absolutely super, and you're in that category.
Thank you.
And it was just because somebody tells somebody else, and I've got to be honest, there was a part of me now listening to this and saying, are you crazy? But I've done a little bit more research on you to find out exactly what you're up to. And then I say, no, come on people, listen to this now, because this is really important what we're going to go through. Let's go through your Team Genesis International. Again, we've heard how you got involved in it. What made you leave everything behind you to go and take this on? Was it the business side of things? Did you think to yourself you're going to become a millionaire out of this? Or what was it? What was the driving force?
Well, I would say that the driving force definitely was just that passion to do more. And I did see how the experience that I had in the business world was going to could easily carry over into this basketball aspect as well, and actually providing a platform for others. And like I said, you know, my thought was, if I can impact these young men in such a way, and, you know, you get a handful of them that are very successful and able to play in the NBA, they're going to have more impact on the world than I possibly would. So, but it would always come back to this was their foundation. And to me, that drove me more than anything, just having that in the back of my mind. And, you know, the young men that have I have, 3-4 years ago was the first graduating class from college. So all my guys have been very successful. I've got guys playing, you know, all over the world. some businessmen as well. And to me, I saw that 15 years ago. So when I get the calls and the text messages, the thank yous, the coach, there's no way that I could have done this without you. The same way I feel about my godmother, I'm getting a chance to see that kind of develop right now. So one of my top players right now is actually set to be drafted this upcoming year. So, that's going to be a very exciting thing as well.
Whoa. And now we're going, I can take you back to, I can see where you were in different parts of the world. But they're screaming out in my head at the moment, comfort zone. Why haven't you stayed in your comfort zone?
What is that? I don't even know what that is. So that's funny because my life has been basically just a matter of living and flourishing and succeeding in an uncomfortable space, which is why I've taken on the responsibility of going overseas at times and taking on projects that, most people would look at and be like, what are you doing? So, I think that's something that drives me as well. It's just not being comfortable, not being settled in where I'm at, and I think some of my greatest successes have come out of that.
What's let me take you back to Lebanon. Okay, you said you would have been there for 20 years, and there's some terrible things that's happened over there, and they've got a terrible time. But you've done some pretty amazing things. You've left your legacy.
I have. The Lebanese people are unbelievable people. They embraced me. I was fortunate enough to work with the Michael Jordan of, Asia in a lot of ways. This is what I was told before I got there, and once I got there, I was able to see it with my own eyes. So, he's a top basketball player, has been for many years, and once he kind of heard about my story, he had brought me in. He had just started in a club, academy, state-of-the-art facility, unbelievable, but he didn't have a coach. So his thought was to bring somebody from the outside to kind of change how things had been done, and with knowing the successes I had had previously, I took on the opportunity, and in 2.5 years, the things that we did there, people haven't been able to do for 20 years, so it was an amazing experience, and I would never trade that for the world, and, hope to one day be able to work through with, the country again.
Listen, I think you're going to be massive in the Middle East, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm going to go, the next question, I'm going to go, why Qatar? what? Got 2 weeks you've been here.
2 weeks, yep. Tomorrow makes 2 weeks.
What made you come to Qatar?
Well, so I left Lebanon and went to Kuwait. So I've spent the last 1.5 years in Kuwait, and the plans that we had there were pretty amazing. And then Corona hit last year. So obviously that kind of changed the dynamics of what me and the general manager there wanted to do kind of short, mid, and long term. But I had great success there as well. I was the player development coach with the professional team, and they just won the GCC, and we just won it in July. So, that was obviously another feather in the cap, and I think 3 days ago we just lost in the championship game in the Arab Cup. But once again, great success there. While I was in Lebanon, while I've been in America, I've known quite a few players that have played professionally here in Qatar.
Okay.
So I've worked with players prior to them coming here, after they've come here, and it's just always been nothing but positives. And, when the opportunity presented itself to be able to work, with Future Sports and with the Qatar Foundation, backing the efforts, to me it was kind of a no-brainer.
So what's that lady called? Zara?
Yeah. Yep. Zara.
She's amazing, right?
Yeah, Zara's great.
She was on the podcast. This lady, I tell you, she's got so much energy. It's so true.
High intensity.
And I remember having her on the podcast, and I said, you started with something. It was that was the acorn. She was just an acorn, if not even smaller than an acorn. But she was, and now she's building her empire. And when she said that she brought you over, I'm thinking, that's really ambitious. That's really ambitious. But you're perfect. You and Future Sports is perfect together.
Thank you. And I don't think you could have said it any better. It was kind of a perfect marriage, and just communication with her. And what was really interesting is when I received the Zoom call, I was actually in a coaches meeting with one of the top college programs in America. And I was set to work with that organization. And, you know, after having multiple conversations with Zara, understanding her vision, the dream that they had in place, you know, for me it was kind of like, I was in a really tough position. But, you know, I couldn't be happier with the decision that I made because I ended up leaving there. You know, and the coaching staff was definitely a little disheartened, as well as players. But I think this is going to be the greatest thing for my future, my son as well, he's a big part. He's the decision maker for me in my life as of right now. So the vision that I have for him over the next 10, 15 years, this is just works perfectly in line, and being able to work with the Qatar Foundation. He'll get an opportunity to be, you know, educated by one of the top educational systems and programs in the world.
There's so many positives about Qatar right now. So many industries, education, medical. It's like you can run through the list. Sports, you can run through the list, and everybody says, what about? I know the question that everybody asks me: what's going to happen after the World Cup? Don't you worry about the World Cup. It's only for 1 month.
Exactly.
It's a brilliant competition without a shadow of a doubt, and I've got this feeling that England's going to win. I really have got a mega feeling. But it's only for a month, right? It's for a month. What happened? And you can see exactly how this country's going, and I think you're going to be huge here. Honestly, I really do. Just talking to you, I think you're going to be huge. Let's talk a little bit about basketball, because I have been trying to learn these things, and I'm going to try and get your opinions on a few things. It's like you've got to be so mega fit.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that. I tell all my players the best players are the most in shape basketball players. Period.
Oh, you're leading me into so many different things because I've been watching a few things, and there's a guy that I like. His name is it's Shaq O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq. I love his character. Okay, so I'm watching him on this show he does. Unbelievable with is it Chris Barkley?
Charles Barkley.
Charles. But I've been watching this, and I think it's an incredible program, and I've just become addicted to it. But I've been watching things with Kobe. Now that was a shock, right, when he passed away in that.
Man, mind blowing.
Unbelievable.
Mind blowing. I mean, he wasn't my favorite player. But the impact and the legacy that he left on the game, if you have anything to do with basketball, there's no way that you were not impacted by his death. Because
this is the thing, and I don't know these individuals, but this is a picture that I'm building up. And so I see Shaq, and I see brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then I'm watching some other programs, and Shaq talks so much about Kobe, but they didn't get on.
At all.
At all.
At all.
At all. And it's like he was looking up and saying, if Shaq only put more into his basketball, he would have been unstoppable. He would have been the best basketball player in the world.
Absolutely.
Ever, period.
Yeah,
if he only put the effort in. But if you look at somebody like Kobe, and that's what I really liked about Kobe, and you said he had a major impact in basketball. And I think he had a major impact within the world with the kind of things that he came out with. And the modest, the humble, the kind of, I didn't know him, but the things that I see when the things that he's been on was unbelievable.
Yeah, Kobe definitely is, I mean, it's hard even just talking about it, you know what I mean? And I was, like I said, I was not as connected in feeling, I always felt he was a great basketball player, but his personality, I was just like, come on, get out of here. And then, plus, my favorite player is LeBron James, so it was always competition between the two of them. But the impact, I didn't even realize until his passing how much it was for me. But as you said, it's beyond basketball with Kobe. The mentality that he had, the work ethic, the drive, the passion, and the most important, the self-discipline that he had. Are all characteristics and traits that are just period for success, whether you're a basketball player or not. So he left an unbelievable legacy, and, people can only hope to impact half, a quarter, of the people that he was able to do that to.
So you said, who's the best player in the world? who of all times?
Oh,
who would you say?
man. You're going to get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Personally, I believe LeBron James will finish as the greatest basketball player of all time because his story is still being written. But
Nice one. You sidestepped
See, I did
that one.
See, I
Yeah,
did that.
you did that
But
one.
Michael Jordan, as of today, right now, is the greatest basketball player that's ever played.
A lot of people, it's like you get mixed reactions. Was he a good person to play with? Was he a kind of, was it, who do we listen to in this media world?
He was intense. He came in a period where he was one of one. There was never a player like him. There were players, now I can't even say similar, prior to him coming. You know, there was the Dr. J's, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Birds. Like, all those guys were great in their element in what they did. But with his sheer athleticism and actual skill set, we'd never seen anything like that before, you know. And it's funny because if you look at the NBA now, every team has 3 or 4 guys that can either dribble as well as Michael, jump as well as Michael, you know, but those guys didn't exist in Michael's era. So these guys wouldn't be who they are without Michael Jordan. And that's kind of where, you know, he started it. He's the pioneer of that big shooting guard, so to speak.
There's always a leader, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Those leaders have got to sometimes be the ones that you hate because they're going to push you that extra mile.
Absolutely.
I do like it, but I saw another story again with Shaq, where they played a game, and it was his era, and Michael Jordan was coming along by all accounts, and they had this big thing going backwards this game, and then he made a comment to say, "There's a new boy in town, and he's going to take it by storm."
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much that happened actually with Michael and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They passed the mantle.
It wasn't
over.
Shaq. It was Magic.
But Michael, when Michael retired and came back to the NBA, his first half a season, he lost to Shaq in the playoffs, and the following year Michael Jordan won 3 championships in a row. So once he retired, it was kind of a handing of the mantle over to Shaquille O'Neal in its own right.
Yeah, it's a fascinating sport, and I didn't realize how much fun is in it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I think soccer, basketball are the two. Golf is the hardest sport. I feel golf is the hardest sport, and then I would say soccer and basketball would be the two at the highest level to be able to be, at the peak professional level. I think those would definitely be the 3 toughest sports without a doubt.
It's like I suppose the golf is probably from a technical aspect of it, getting that swing right. It's got to be poetry in motion, but that you've got to be so fit that is not a problem for you anymore.
Absolutely.
So it's all down about your technique, and I do find that, as you said, football, that's another one. But you've got to have lungs.
Oh yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
How you keep on running up and down is unbelievable.
I want to say that they track NBA players, and say the top guys probably run anywhere between 3 and 4 miles.
Yeah. In
the actual NBA game.
Yeah.
During the game.
Unbelievable. I've tried it a couple of times. It's like, this isn't for me. And I've played sport at a good level, but when you come up against a team that is just their strength and conditioning is just far superior. It's like it doesn't get. I don't care how much technique you've got. They're going to smash you. They're just going to run you into the ground.
Oh yeah.
They're just going to run you into the ground. It's a fascinating sport, and I suppose you're coming here for a challenge. You're starting your journey here. It's like that's. Now, do you look at this as a business or your legacy?
To be honest with you, everything I do, I kind of look at as a legacy. Everything, anything that I kind of put my hands on, I want to be remembered as someone who made a major difference and impact. And I feel like Qatar really will grant me the opportunity to do that. For me, it's not just a matter of, future sports. I would love to be able to just improve the game of basketball in the country, point blank period, and have this be one of the most competitive countries, especially in the Middle East, but even this side of the world. So some of my plans, my goals, even, having the opportunity maybe to work with the national team and doing things like that. Like, I want to make this a global mecca of basketball is really what my goal is.
And that's an opportunity. There is an opportunity for you to achieve just that.
And I can't do it by myself. So I'm very open to, with using my experiences and my knowledge, helping and working with coaches and, doing different things like that. I saw it happen in Lebanon.
One thing I see with you right now is like you're taking all these risks, and I'm guaranteed it's not for the money. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely
it's
not.
Just not.
Definitely not. Because when the contract I passed up at the university before I got here, no, it's definitely not a money thing for me.
And when you started this whole business and you had a business orientation around this, how long was it before you? And this is a kind of I want for people to understand. Did you always charge enough at the beginning, or was it just for the love?
Nah, I've never charged enough. It's never happened.
Everybody says, have you monetized it yet?
Yeah, no. For the time, the energy, the effort, the passion, if you were going to, I don't think you could put a price tag. I can't. I don't think I could put a price tag on it. And if you probably ask the parents, the families, the players, they would probably say the same thing. So
this is something for you out there, okay? And this is really important because there's going to be loads of people that talk you into this game. Have you monetized it yet? And it does come down to it. It comes down to it. You've got to love it. You've got to love it because there will be offshoots, and there will be. If you keep on making people enjoy, you will earn the money from it. And you've got to do the thing that you love most of all.
Absolutely.
If you do that, then it'll pull you along. You'll get through those hardships.
The way I see it, how I gauge success is having the ability to do something that you're great at, and then having the ability to do something that you actually love. Those are two separate things. There's people who are, get a chance to do something that they're really good at, but they're just not really passionate about it. They don't love it. They're just naturally really good at it, or for whatever reason or opportunity they've been able to do it. Then, there's the flip side. People who do something that they want to do something that they really love, but they're just not really that good at it. So having the ability to do something where that just merges for me, that's where the success is. And, I get a chance to see it every day. It's very tangible. It's something that I can literally see, how much better I've been able to help and make people.
And I'm so glad that this whole conversation is going the way that it is, because I started looking at your pictures because one of my questions for you is beard or no beard. Because I've seen you both with the beard and without the beard.
I've been doing it a while.
And me too. It's like sometimes I always have a goatee, but I'll shave this off if I get fed up of it. And I saw the pictures of you because I was looking for all your pictures, and I thought that's one question I'm going to ask you. The other one was, oh my God, the joy that you have with these pictures of all the kids behind you or with you, that's magnificent. If you're feeling down, that must be the easiest way to pick yourself back up. Just go through Google, because if I go to your name and I look at the images, my word, that's testament to you, my friend.
I don't think you could have put it any better than that. I don't really have bad days. Like I said, I lost a sister in 2015. She was 27, brain cancer. And how fast it happened. We were in the middle, getting ready to start our basketball season. And my brother and I flew to Houston for the funeral. And the next day we flew back to Virginia. We had a game the following day. So there really was no time to, really sit in sorrow, because I still had 15 young men that were looking at me to, give them the confidence that they needed to go out there and do what they needed to do to reach their goals. So, that's probably one of the greatest things about what I do is every day there's always something to look at and just be like, man, I'm grateful for that. And, hearing the responses from the parents and the families. I mean, I've only been here 2 weeks, and some of the messages that I've received, I'm like, man, I've only spent like 3 hours with your kids so far, but it's really humbling. It's really probably one of the most humbling things for me, and I feel like that's just all part of the legacy. And, you know, whether if I was to die today, God forbid, I can say that, you know, I did make an impact in hundreds of kids' lives, and I'm forever grateful for that.
And that's, I suppose, because I've said this to so many different people before, it's like if you're going through a tough time, always try to help somebody, because your problems vanish. And again, I'm 54, and I said it as well. Now, if I die today, then don't feel sorry, feel happy, because I've had a wonderful life and I've helped as many people as I possibly can. And I think that's just what you're saying right now, and that's why I'm feeling this between us right now, because you've got some magnificent energy, but a calm energy, and that goes on to the other things that you've got quotes on your websites, which I went through your websites. Which are the quotes that you live by your life with? There must be loads, because you're using them all in your sites.
I don't think I could choose one, honestly. Man, that's oh man, I don't know. I'm running like I'm running like them together in my mind right
your
now.
brain's trying to compute, and it's like it was fantastic to go through them, and they've got to go through your site. What? And I'm so sorry. So how do they get in contact? How do they participate? And they can go to your websites and shout your websites out.
Okay, so it's kind of two things going on. So I'm here with Future Sports. Prior to me coming to Qatar and working in Future Sports, because I have clients all over the world, I have created a platform where I can literally work with my players. There's videos, various progressions, and different drills and things like that. And then there's also interaction. I can have interactive workouts with players as well. And that website is hiswilliaimbasketball.com.
And there's a good quote there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. His will is what I aim. So how that name came about, I mean, my last name is Williams. And when I was putting my business plan together, you know, I was looking at my last name, just playing with different things. And it's like, it just kind of came about from there. So, and that's kind of what my whole life has been based on, is not my will, but God's will. You know, and however and whatever he wants and asks of me, you know, he always reveals it to me in some way, shape, or form. So that's why I'm in Qatar.
Even when you're going through the toughest of journeys, it will come through for you. Always.
It has for me.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. And without a shadow of a doubt, I can't wait to see your future here in Qatar, and always remember us, please.
Oh. But
okay.
this is just the beginning right here.
This is just the beginning, right? It's got to be just the beginning.
It's just the beginning,
I'm
Steve.
so looking forward to it. And I am going to give a massive shout out there as well for Future Sports, because I'd give them 100% for enticing you to come here.
Absolutely.
It must have been a big step for them to be able to make that type of commitment.
Absolutely.
But I know that type of commitment that they were doing was for others, and I know that. I know Zara. I know Richard as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all they want to do is help others. And
that was it for me.
She was going to be here today.
Yeah, I know.
It's just that she's running around. She's got so many events going on.
I told her, look, I'll represent the company. Yeah. Well, don't worry about it.
You're
I got it. So
just fine.
So yeah, no, they're unbelievable. Their energy, and most importantly, their vision. You know, for what they want to do, what they've done thus far. We were connected through. You know, there was a couple that ran a basketball organization here, and they left the country, and you know, rather than just the kids leaving the program, you know, Zara and Rich had the foresight to, you know, help, basically, like, hey, what can we do to, you know, take over the program in any way? And, you know, those were the ones that actually connected us. And, you know, after going through the interview process, which it was really humbling for me, because, you know, the couple that left, I mean, Sandra and Eric, they they've ran the basketball here, from my understanding, for, you know, the last few years. And, you know, they're well known all over the place. And out of all the coaches in their Rolodex, you know, I was the one that they reached out to and said, if there's any way you can get him, this is what you have to do. So that was humbling, you know. And like I said, with the vision that Zara and Richard have in place, it aligns perfectly with what I want to do long term. Like I said, I'm not here for a short time. You know, my goal is to be here over the next 10 to 15 years and even longer, you know, but my son should be ready for the NBA in 15 years. So he's 3 right now.
Oh,
he's 3.
Oh, come
he's 3.
on.
Hey, no.
Hey, everybody's
hey, he's going to the NBA.
I thought when you said that he's 10 or 12 or...
No.
Yeah,
You got to speak these things into existence.
Yeah.
You got to speak them into existence.
Oh,
so
good on you.
if I've been able to do all the things that I've done for all these other players, I can only imagine. So I'll show you some video of him. You'll be mind blown. He's 3 years old right now.
Hey, listen, I'm lucky enough that I've got 4 children. I told you my middle one is 5'9". And I stand on a chair just
6'9", 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9". Sorry,
Yeah.
What did I say?
Which is
Yeah,
unreal.
Unreal. And I've got a picture of me standing on a chair, and I'm still only coming up to his chin.
My son is projected at 6'10".
Oh,
Yeah,
whoa,
that's
whoa,
what doctors
whoa.
say, that doing the test that they did, he's projected to be 6'10".
That's going to be a
so.
tall guy. That's going to be a tall guy. But Jace, my son, I wish it was, because I would get him into basketball, right? But he's not a basketball player. But he would have been a great one.
You sure? 6'9", you can find a place somewhere.
He would just have to stand in one place. I'm sorry, Jace. But he's got the biggest heart. It's untrue, a lion's heart. He's a brilliant, brilliant guy. But it's been an absolute privilege to have you on our show today. And
I really appreciate it.
Oh,
it's an
God,
honor.
I feel from you. I do, honestly. And your spirit, your kind of what you've achieved and the things that you're doing are just, please, if I can ever help you, I'd be there on the sideline.
I appreciate
Even
it.
if it was just cheering.
Thank you. No, that goes a very long way. You know, when you do the kind of work that I do, and people don't realize, you know, when you get paid for it, it's kind of like, okay, that was work. But the level of appreciation, you know, just words of encouragement, the appreciation, that's the biggest word for me. That goes so far. So thank you.
So everybody, you heard this last statement, okay? And I can't emphasize, you can make a better place, this world a better place, by just making sure that you can go out and do that appreciation for others, because it has such a major effect, and all you've got to do is make the effort. And when you see people making the effort, you see the way that life is and the ability to help in so many by just going out there to help one. Thank you, Harry, for coming on today.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.
Until next week, thank you very much, and bye for now. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app.